I think I would like to thank all of the presenters. We're a little bit over time, so we appreciate everyone who's still with us. We will do a quick question and answer session, but if you have to leave, please visit our project website or the waterchannel.tv to see the question and answer session at a later time. So I think the first question talks about, I think, getting back to Taya's presentation. What would the source of water for the various developments of sugarcane? So would it come from groundwater or dams? I know there has been some discussion in the chat that it's mostly surface diversions, but what would that mean for water security for other sectors, for example? So if Taya is available, maybe he can. I'm available. I can. During this question, otherwise.
Can you hear me, Laura?
Yeah.
Hello, Laura.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello. Hi. Oh, yeah. Okay. Good. It's a nice question. As I try to communicate, also my Ethiopian colleague was communicating. All the sources for the sugar plantation are from surface water, the big rivers. We have 12 basins. The sugar development projects are, as you said, they are in the lowlands. These lowlands are the convergence of lots of river flows, and also the sediment load is lying over the lowlands. So all the source of water for the mega sugar projects are the big rivers. It's all the surface water source. But there is a plan. There is a planned activity to use groundwater for sugar development in the future. In the GTP1 and GTP2, sugar was also in the plan to irrigate about 2 million hectares of land, not only for sugar plantation, also for kind of mixed culture. It's also in the plan, but not yet is implemented for sugarcane. That's my answer.
Thank you, Taya. We really appreciate that. I know as water becomes more scarce, it's always an in-demand resource. So having diversified sources of water is important. The next question, for the application of water.
It's a very interesting question, but I don't have an answer in my head. I'm not sure whether there is any plan, but there are a lot of works going on. In fact, I mean, partly as a research, for instance, there are already few publications which compared vapor in Africa. Even there is a recent publication that compared the ET of vapor across the whole Africa. Maybe I will check it and then try to send the link. Otherwise, there is no one from ours just immediately now that we are going to do it. But indeed, there are things happening.
Okay, thanks, Abebe. And the next question, I think, is for Martin. Can one and the same sugar factory process both sugar beet and sugar cane?
Yes, with some minor adaptations. Once you are at the juice level, the process is exactly the same. The pre-processing is slightly different, but there are companies who developed a hybrid system which can deal with both crops. The name of the company is the SMET. I think it's in the brochure that I mentioned before. So indeed, a cane processing factory cannot just start processing sugar beet. Some small modifications to the system are needed. But there are solutions that enable dealing with both crops.
Great. And then a question about
the first, first the second, how developed it is, it's available. In fact, for the tropical beet concept, we could build further on the varieties that we had already in countries like Egypt and Chile, and just further improve it a bit. So we didn't have to start from scratch. We just had to fine tune it for the local environments. And regarding the region in India, I'm afraid I don't know the answer to this. So my expertise in the company is the drought topic, the tropical beet topic. I'm not very much involved in. I can transfer the question to one of my colleagues who follow that closer and come back to you with an answer. So I don't know who asked the question, but you're always welcome to send me an email and I can follow up if needed. Okay, yeah.
And we can also put a link to your company website for information in the brochure as well. Next is more of a comment from Pooja, but she's talking about how, for example, in India, where they were planting sugarcane intensively, they're moving towards more diversified crops, which would improve food security and water productivity and flexibility in years of drought. I think this is a nice topic. I don't know, maybe Taya or Peter, somebody who's familiar with this topic, is this something that's also happening in Ethiopia, for example, or other sugarcane diversified crop patterns?
I find this very difficult to answer. What you see in the Inkomati, which I mentioned on the South African side, you have. Okay. What you see in the Inkomati, which is a river that is shared between South Africa, Swaziland, or Eswatini, and Mozambique, you have a lot of sugarcane, but you also have a lot of forest plantation, which are rain-fed, but they consume blue water, and you have a lot of fruit trees. So they are really locked into everything that is perennial, and so moving from one perennial to the other may increase the value, for instance, from sugarcane to fruit trees or something, but will still keep you locked in. So perhaps to try out a bit of these sugar beets, tropical sugar beets, could be an interesting experiment actually.
I do know if people are interested in this topic, it will be covered next week in our socioeconomics around water productivity, where Wageningen will discuss the trade-offs between different kinds of agricultural production and what it means for things like food security and water security. So I think it is a difficult question to answer, and it might be case-specific, but again, we encourage you to join us next week, as that we'll get into more details on that topic. So I think there were a few more questions, but I think we're about 15. Okay, let's do this. We'll have this as our last question from Pasquale. This is for Bebe, talking about his analysis with WaPOR. I think we're in a realm of high precision agriculture.
Pasquale, for the
this implies that you need a high.
It's an honor to have you here. In fact, we didn't really measure the degree of less accuracy, but what we did is that at least we have some sort of confidence with this data. We agronomically test if they make sense or not from 2009 up to now. And then we removed, or I didn't present the data between 2009 up to end of 2013. It's because, the error, at least we couldn't confirm from the agronomic explanation. But then directly answer to your question, just still the accuracy and the comparison needs to be done. And I would recommend just only the procedure to be applied. Maybe Peter wanna say something, please?
Yes, because the plan is that your presentation will be triangulated with the crop yield data from the estate. But we haven't had permission yet to use those data, and they measure water application very badly in the Shinavani estate. But in all sugarcane mills that I know, the crop yield is very accurately measured, both the cut and burnt cane, as well as the sucrose content per lot. And so that will be very valuable information. But so Abed is going to share the paper as it is now with the Shinavan company, with the request whether they can also share crop data for certain plots, just to check the
Great. Thanks, everyone, for your answers. I think we're about 15 to 20 minutes over. If we have unanswered questions, we'll take a look at them and put them on the website and send them around to our expert panel for their answers. So again, we want to thank everyone that was on the panel for your presentations and your videos. We really appreciate learning from you today. And again, a really big thank you to our participants, especially those who stayed a little bit late for the question and answer session. If you would like to rewatch this webinar, you can go to the project website, waterpip.un-ihe.org or the waterchannel.tv. You can also download the presentations, and we'll put up additional information on those locations as well. Now, when you exit the webinar, it will send you to the survey. Again, it's a survey that gives us more information about what you're interested in learning and who you are. And if you have filled it out already, thank you. You only need to fill it out once. But if you're new, we would really appreciate it if you completed it for us. So